All right, in this last section, we're looking at percent change. Where you see this is anytime you go to a store and there's a sale, looking at percent change, because they get 30% off or 60% off or 10% off. Or if they're really, really mean, they just do a 1% off sale. But a percent change is we have an original amount and we have some amount of change that gives us that percent change. It'd be the same idea as, okay, I know that I can get a profit off of my sale of a DVD. I'm Walmart or Target or wherever, and I buy DVDs at wholesale cost. Wholesale is in big bulk, in boxes of 1 million DVDs of the same exact DVD because I'm going to sell them. And I want to know, okay, I need to have a certain dollar amount of profit. And so what percent change, what percent increase do I need to add to this cost that I'm buying? And we're going to look at how these percent changes work. And so this formula here is one that's going to help us. You don't have to use this formula if you really understand what's going on, but the formula is a great tool for us. So the percent change is the amount of increase or decrease, how much is it changing, divided by the original amount. So here's an example. From 8 to 10. So I'm going from $8 to $10. I bought something for $8. I'm selling it for $10. I want to know what's the percent change. What's the percent markup on whatever it is that I'm selling? If we use my formula, I got to figure out what the amount of increase or decrease is. So from 8 to 10, it went up by 2. It changed by 2. And so the amount of increase or decrease would be 2. The original amount, and this is important, the original amount is where it's starting from. And so it says from 8 to 10, it's starting from 8 and going to 10. So the original amount is 8. So the percent change then would be whatever 2 divided by 8 ends up being. So 2 divided by 8 is 0.25. But remember that that's a decimal. That is not a percent. If I put 2 divided by 8 in my calculator, I get 0.25. And that's a decimal. I got to change that decimal to the right to 25%. And that's going to be a 25% increase. And I'm going to have you write the word increase. On your sample problems here, on your assignment problems, on the test question, it's going to ask you to decide what is the amount of change, or what is the percent increase or decrease. And then you do need to say whether it was an increase or a decrease. So this is a 25% increase. Now, you do not, in fact, please don't write this down because I don't want you to confuse yourself. But I said it's important to remember where it's starting from, what the original amount is. There is a difference. If instead of doing 2 over 8, if I accidentally put the change of 2 and forgot that it didn't start from 10, it started from 8, there is a difference. Because 2 divided by 10, that's 0.2. That'd be a 20% increase. So there is a difference in answer here. It is important which number you choose to be that original amount. And so be careful with that. Don't write this down because I don't want you to confuse yourself later. But make sure that that original amount is correct. So try these 3 on your own. How much did it change? What was the original amount? And make sure you write increase or decrease after your answer. I'm assuming you tried it. Pause it. Do these 3. I'm assuming you tried it. I'm assuming you did it on your own. The correct answers should be a 60% decrease. We should have a 45% decrease. And we should have a 20% increase. If you didn't get those 3 answers, or even one of those 3 answers, make sure that you are watching the linked video. All right, so continuing to use that same formula, if we're given different information, instead of being given where it's starting from and where it's going to, what if we know where it's starting from and we know how much what percent it's changing? So this question says, find the result. Find what happens when 12 is increased by 50%. And so we're looking at what happens when I have a $12, pair of pants, a t-shirt, $12 t-shirt, and it's increased by 50%. So they marked it up 50% to make a profit, which is what a business is supposed to do. Some of you already know the answer, because 50% is fairly easy to work with in our heads. But I am going to use the formula to show how the formula works, so that you can, so that when it's not a nice percent, let's say it was increased by 2.7%, that might be harder to work out in your head. So if I use the formula, it says the percent change equals, so the percent change is 50%, but if I'm going to use a calculator, I need to make sure I change that to a decimal, to the left, So the percent change, 0.5 or 0.50, equals the amount of change, see the amount of increase or decrease. We don't know how much it's changing. We just know that 12 is being increased by 50%. So we're starting with 12, we're increasing at 50%, and we want to know what's the result. So I don't know how much it's increasing. If I were to solve for x, it's x divided by 12, so the opposite of divide is times. So I multiply both sides times 12. 0.5 times 12 is 6. Now, find the result when 12 is increased by 50%. If 12 is increased, the answer cannot be 6, because 12 cannot increase to 6. That's illogical. We've figured out this answer of 6 here. We've figured out the amount of increase, how much it's increasing. That's what we solve for. That's what this formula gives us. So if I know I started with 12, and it's increasing by 50%, which is 6, I'm going to have 18 as my final answer. This has a multiple step in it. You can use the formula. It's a great formula. Use the formula. But the formula only gives you how much it's changing, not the final answer. It tells you how much it's increasing or decreasing. You have to take the final step to figure out what the final answer will be. Let me do one more with you. So it says, find the result when 55 is decreased by 60%. So again, I can fill in my formula. There are other ways, but I'll let you figure those out if you want. The percent increase or decrease. So I got to change that to a decimal because I'm going to use a calculator. So 0.6 is my percent change. I know that it's starting with 55, and I don't know how much it's decreasing. So to solve, I multiply both sides by whatever's in the denominator. Since it's divided by 55, I multiply times 55. And so if I do 0.6 times 55, I'm going to get 33. So 33 equals x. That's the amount of change. I'm not going to add 55 plus 33 because 55 is being decreased by 60%. So it should be 55 minus 33, which gives us a final answer of 22. So if you go to a store, you're going to buy a pair of jeans. It's $55 for these jeans, or good pair of Levi's or something. And it's a 60% off sale. Great sale. 60% off sale. I want these jeans. And we don't know how much am I going to have to pay for these jeans. Those are going to cost $22 after that 60% off sale. Give these two a try. Figure out the result when 72 is increased by 25%. Figure out the result when 10 is decreased by 40%. I'm assuming you paused it. I'm assuming you did it on your own. If you're not using the formula that I have, make sure you're showing the work. Because again, there are always more ways to do these problems than just the one. I'm showing you a formula that works every time, but that's not the only way to do it. And so if you are doing it a different way, make sure you're showing me the work that you're doing. Okay, the correct answer for this one is 90. And the correct answer for this one is 6. And we did not have to say if it was increased or decreased because it was in the problem. If you didn't get those answers, watch the linked video. Try these 4. Same idea. Figure out 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm assuming you paused it. I'm assuming you tried it on your own. The first one should be 40%. And again, we're saying whether it is an increase or a decrease. And so this should be a 40% increase. The next one should be a 22.5% decrease. Next one should be an 80% decrease. Go. 4 and 5 then, find the result. The result is 168, and the result of number 5 is 56. So watch those linked videos if you're not sure how we got those answers.